is.
Like, can anybody see it?
Alex can, yes.
Hey, how you doing? So this is week 2 of Dizneyverse Fantasy Football League, and we're gonna go over everything. We're talking about the players to look out for, the players who did the best this week. We're gonna look at the matchups for this week, and look forward to see who won and who lost, and try to kind of navigate some people to do better the following week. But we had some good matchups this week, I must say for sure. How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing fantastic, Alex. How are you this evening?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. So, before we get started, if you have future questions for us to talk about, just go ahead and, of course, this is talking about for anyone in the Dizneyverse Fantasy Football League. Go ahead and send us a message via Discord. Send me a direct message, and we'll try to answer it on the episode for you. And if you don't know who we are the Dizneyverse Fantasy Football League. I am Alex, a host of Dizneyverse, a Disney history podcast. And if you want to find us, just Google Dizneyverse, Dizneyverse. And if you found us here on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe. We're gonna put out an episode every week about fantasy football. Maybe it'll be relative to you. We are talking about all the players. We are talking about who did well, who did bad, and all that kind of stuff. And then with me, I have my co-host, Scott. Scott, and you are from No New Friends, correct?
I am from the New Friends podcast, yeah. And for those of you who are in this league, look, this is a really good opportunity. This is your first year playing fantasy football. It's not easy, but we are giving you the cheat code. We're giving you the answers. If you don't know what you're doing, you're like, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Watch this, take our advice, and then apply it, and you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, because I was just thinking the other day, I was like, okay, so why should they listen to us? I won my last year's co-league. This is a 11th year I've been in this league. This is a family league. This is a money league, and I won last year. It's my second time ever winning in the league, and I had another money league I won as well. And usually I'm in the top 4 teams. Scott, have you won any fantasy leagues lately?
I have. In my main league, the one that I've been in for like 12 years, I've won a total of 5 or 6 championships.
Oh wow!
I'm the winningest owner in league history. I'm the only owner to three-peat. So I've got a proven track record. In other leagues, I've runner-up. I've made it to the championship several times. And then last year, I had number 1 teams in both leagues, and Brock Purdy screwed me with 4 interceptions in the conference semifinals. So I know what I'm doing. I listen to a lot of Sirius XM fantasy sports radio, so I have a lot of insider knowledge and tips. My score doesn't show it this week, but that's because I have a player that Tua throws to, and Tua does not know how to run or slide or avoid concussions.
Yeah, avoid concussions for sure. Let's get into the week report. So first, we're gonna go over the week report, and first we have the best and worst players, also the best and worst managers. So our best manager we have this week is Jackstar89, aka Lady in the Champs, aka Jackie.
And what did I tell you? The Jackies are the teams to beat.
They are for sure. And Jackie scored 150.92 points. And it says here she scored 90% of her perfect lineup. 98%. That means she made almost every single selection correct, which is insane. And then our worst manager, sorry about it, but we have East High Wildcats, aka John, and he scored 76%.
AKA the Taco Week.
The taco player, kind of, yes.
Yes.
He scored 76% of their perfect possible line. 76% is pretty good, but he did score 31.26 points.
I can't wait to dial into this lineup to see what happened, because if you fill all your roster spots, a low score should be in the 50s or 60s. I don't know how 31 is possible. I can't wait to dial into this.
Well, in our Discord server, he did mention that he doesn't understand how to switch players.
Okay.
We told him to click because we use a Sleeper platform. If you're looking at it, you're like, what is that platform they're using? We use Sleeper, which I love. And to select players and switch them, you have to select the position button, not the player button.
I think, and you have to do it under the teams tab, not the matchup tab.
Correct.
Alex, I think next year before week 1, we do a week 1 preview and we do a tutorial of how to do things on the Sleeper app.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that, which I could do a little tutorial as we're looking through stuff as well.
Yeah.
Biggest blowout, we have BB Diz, aka Dane, beating John. He had a margin of, well, I don't know what's the margin, but he beat him by almost 100. He beat him by what looks like
85 points.
85 points. Yeah. The nearest victory, which is unfortunately you, and we'll talk about that later when we go to the matchups, but we have Jackie beating you, Scott, with a difference of 0.8.
Yep. I told you, Team Jackie's the team to beat. I definitely had some underperforming. I mean, I go from number 1 in points in week 1, and then I only put up 80.04 in week 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of things went wrong for me, and we'll dial into that.
Yeah. And that's why every week everyone can beat everybody. It's just like the NFL, you know?
Yep.
And
play the game.
we have overachievers, Kalina. She scored 62%. She was projected 87 points, and she scored 141, which is crazy.
Another team to beat. But you did skip the highest scorer, Jackstar 89 with 150.92. And then lowest scorer, we have already talked about that.
Exactly. We talked about both of them already because we have best manager.
Yep.
And then we have low expectations, which we know John, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll give him some advice to go forward. But let's look at the quarterback of the week.
Of course, was playing against me.
That helps. That definitely makes you lose, doesn't it?
Yep. I do have Kyler Murray in several of my other leagues, and Kyler Murray put up Kyler Murray points this week. He's back to true form.
Yeah, Kyler Murray is back until the new Call of Duty drops, and then his stats go down historically. But yeah, he is doing crazy stuff with 3 touchdowns, passing over 250 yards.
I think he had 2 touchdowns to Marvin Harrison Jr. in the first quarter.
Yeah, those stats.
They were large. They were bombs too. Like they were, because I think Marvin Harrison Jr. only had like 3 catches for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, those stats for the first, like the score for the first half, was unbelievable. Honestly, it was like, it was insane the stats they put up in the first half of the game. Like when you look at the score, you're like, this looks like a video game numbers for sure.
Oh, 100%. But when you talk about video game numbers, let's go to running back of the week.
Yeah, running back for the week definitely has video game numbers, and that is Alvin Kamara.
This is vintage Alvin Kamara here. 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's just as good as always. I don't know why he went so late in the draft, because he's been doing so well.
He's had some down years. He's had some down years, or some not RB1 years.
Yeah, but he's still so solid. Over 100 rushing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown as well.
Here's your big takeaway. You look at this and you're like, okay, well, that's not going to be duplicated again. Well, but it can. If you have a running back that is playing against the Carolina Panthers, you put them in your lineup. Okay, those are the things that the things that advanced players do, is they look at the matchups, and Carolina cannot stop anybody. If you have a running back playing against Carolina, get them in your starting lineup.
And we talked about that last week. We said attack Carolina because they're going to give up a lot of points. So definitely attack them. And Kalina, she had Kamara, a.k.a. Tara, and you'll see her name again because she had another top player as well. And then we go to Kyler Murray, who is part of Akuda Matata, the player who beat you. And the top wide receiver of the week was Marvin Harris. And Marvin Harris looked so good. A bounce back week for sure for Marvin Harris. He had a low week the first week. Everyone said he's going to be so good as a rookie. And he showed it this week with 2 receiving
Yep.
touchdowns and 100 receiving yards.
That's why you can't panic after 1 or 2 weeks. If you drafted someone extremely high, like Marvin Harrison was a second round draft pick in
Yeah.
most leagues. You can't panic after 1 week, especially with all these superstars not playing in preseason. I mean, games 1 and 2 are essentially the preseason. And we saw that with Atlanta, with Kirk Cousins. They were awful in week 1. And all of a sudden, the last 2 minutes of the game, they put on a clinic.
Yeah. I have Marvin Harris in one of my leagues, and yeah, I definitely first week I was like, dang, he did so bad, but I believe in Kyler Murray this year. I believe in Arizona. I think Arizona is a really good team this year. I think it's a good team to
A
look
lot of
at for sure.
weapons.
A lot of
weapons.
weapons, a lot of weapons. And then it takes us to the tight end of the week, and the tight end of the week is George Kittle, and it will not be the first time he is a tight end of the week for sure. I predict it.
No, and especially this year, tight ends are struggling, and this is why everybody likes to take Travis Kelce in the first couple rounds or Mark Andrews. This is why, if you look, I forgot to pick up a tight end until the very last round. You want depth at running back, you want depth at wide receiver, and these tight ends. This is not the year of the tight end. This is actually the year of the kicker. Kickers, on average, are getting more points than tight ends this year.
I wouldn't know. I don't like kickers in my leagues, but yeah, George
Kicker beat
Kittle,
me this week.
huh?
A kicker beat me this week.
Yeah. Kittle is definitely a really good receiver. He had 17 fantasy points with 1 touchdown and only 7 receptions, which, like Scott just said, 17 fantasy points is the leader. Yeah, unfortunately, that is the case for tight ends this year. They are really low. If you want to negate that, sometimes there are leagues that are tight end heavy. They give tight ends extra points for receptions. And that is a way to counteract that. But look, usually tight ends, yeah, they're not too crazy. It's only one position you got to fill for the whole year. You only got to worry about a bye week for them usually.
Yeah, that's why if you've got a guy like Kyle Pitts, who's going to get you some, he'll have his up weeks, his down weeks. That's a solid guy. Brock Bowers, who probably was taken in one of the last rounds. I mean, that's a value pick because Brock Bowers had a huge week. I'm all in on Brock Bowers in most of my leagues.
Yeah, Brock Bowers is a really good tight end right now. He's definitely coming up for sure. And then we look over the top defense, which was the Minnesota Vikings. No, that's not the top defense. The top defense rostered we have. No, the top defense was Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
Why do I have the Buffalo Bills? I messed that up on this week. Some reason I have the Buffalo Bills. No, it was the Minnesota Vikings. Let me get that off there. It was the Minnesota Vikings, and they had 14 defensive points due to 1 forced fumble and 1 interception. Oh, I know what happened. The top defense scoring team was actually a bench team. The top active team was the Minnesota Vikings. That's why my slide was wrong. But they had 14 fantasy points due to 1 forced fumble and 1 interception and 6 sacks. Did not think Minnesota Vikings had it in them, but they played really well this week. And so that is the top players of the week. If we look at our top bench of the week, and that's going to get us, that's going to show us there with everything else that we're doing with top bench. So far, if we look at top bench of the week, we have the quarterback bench warmer of the week, which is Scott's Baker Mayfield, who scored 19.8 points with almost 200 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and a rushing touchdown. And if Scott would have played him, he would have easily won.
I picked up Baker Mayfield this week, dropped Deshaun Watson.
Good move.
And decided, you know what, I'm just going to stick with Stafford.
Right.
Stafford's solid. Now I'm going to have to rethink this because Baker Mayfield is the real deal.
He is playing, and I bet you the Browns really wish they still had him.
Well, it's every system is different. And, Ryan Tannehill, garbage quarterback in Miami. He goes to Tennessee and is decent.
Yeah.
He played much better.
Yeah. Sometimes those quarterbacks just work better in different systems.
Yep.
We have the bench warmer of the week for the running back, and that is 51st Legion's New England, which he scored 10.8 points, nothing much.
Yeah.
he's a
He
backup.
needed to be on the bench.
Yeah, like
He needed to be on
he
the bench.
wouldn't have him starting anyways. So
No.
that's not surprising. Now, top bench wide receiver was my own top bench wide receiver, Calvin Ridley. He scored 22.7 points. He had a receiving and a rushing touchdown. And I think Ridley is going to have a great season. That's why I drafted him. But he had a poor first week, and I had other players who played better. So I was like, oh, I'll put him on the bench and wait till he does well.
And why are you playing him over Amon-Ra,
Yeah,
Devontae Adams, or Zay Flowers?
exactly. It was him or Zay Flowers, and Zay Flowers had the better matchup, so I played Zay Flowers.
And you didn't lose. You lost 3 points by that decision.
Did I?
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah, Calvin Ridley outscored Zay Flowers by about 3 points.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. I'm glad
But
somebody's
Devontae, well, yeah, you lost 4 points by starting Amon-Ra over him, but you're not going to start Calvin Ridley over Amon-Ra.
No.
You're not going to start Calvin Ridley over Devontae Adams.
No,
so
no.
it was it's the right call. It sucks, but
Yeah, for sure.
You started a good lineup.
And then bench tight end by Lady of the Champs, aka Jackie, and she had Cole Kmet for the Bears, scored 4.7 fantasy points. Not really relevant, because 4.7 points, not a big deal.
And you're not starting Cole Kmet over Brock Bowers.
No, yeah, she had Brock Bowers, which scored ridiculous amount. Oh, yeah, our starter scored over 14 points. Then we have top bench D, which I had to slide there. Buffalo Bills scored 18 fantasy points. They had 3 interceptions and a touchdown, and they looked really good out there.
Let me tell you, Dane is Dane Swiggy.
Yes,
Whoever Swiggy
that's
is.
Dane.
Buffalo's defense, which was supposed to take a slide, they're the real deal. Although they were playing Miami, who was terrible this week.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Well, that's what happens when your first quarterback, your quarterback goes down.
Yeah, but that wasn't. He had already thrown 3 interceptions.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh,
Tua threw 3 interceptions.
wow.
Miami was terrible, and Miami is really good. But Buffalo's defense just stopped them on every chance. I think Buffalo is a must start every week, unless you have an extremely high powered offense like a Houston, like a Kansas City.
Yeah. Now, our top free agents around the league, these are players you might want to look at to replace some of the players you might have. Starting with Derek Carr. He had his second big week for the Saints with almost 250 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and a running touchdown. Are the Saints for real? I don't know. They had 2 big blowouts. Derek Carr looks like he is on fire this year with Alpha Kamara.
And they haven't even established the passing game with Olave yet.
No, not really. It's
been all Rashid.
It's been
Shaheed.
on big bombs too.
Yes,
Big bombs going out there.
but as long as Kamara is continuing with the successful running, it's going to open up the passing game and make Derek Carr even more of a beast.
Yes. And then
True test will be this Sunday versus Philadelphia.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Then we'll know if Derek Carr is for real.
That's true. That will help a lot. And then the top running back, which is a big surprise to everybody, was the Jets rookie running back Braylon Allen, who had a receiving and a rushing touchdown. He's a rookie. I don't even know who he is. I don't know why he was playing, honestly.
Who does he play for?
The Jets.
Well, the Jets. I mean, Breece Hall played well. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's if he's the third down back and he's coming in and bust open coverage. He only had 6 attempts. It's not like he had a ton of attempts. But
no, Breece Hall had like 70% of the snaps, so it's like Breece Hall didn't play a lot.
But Allen had 1 catch on 1 target, 8 yards.
Yeah, for a touchdown.
For a touchdown.
Yeah, sometimes it just happens that way.
Yep.
Top wide receiver, who's someone I think you should look at, is Quentin Johnson for the Chargers. He had 2 receiving touchdowns and was on the field for 70% of the offensive snaps. So I think he's someone to look at for your roster moving forward. He might be a good catch. But another notable free agent is Saints Rashid Shaheed, who's also out there. He had 2 back-to-back big games. He's on the field for over 65% of the snaps, and if the Saints are for real, then he's for real.
Yep. There's also some other interesting free agents out there. You've got San Francisco wide receivers. Debo's going to miss some time. You've got what's his name? Steele from Kansas City, because Pacheco's going to be on the IR. That's probably an 8-week out. So if you have Pacheco, maybe look at Cameron Steele. I don't know how good he's going to be, and I don't know, because I think there's going to be a lot of snap shares with Sanjay P. Ryan, and then also the Kansas City Chiefs were meeting with Kareem Hunt today. Not that Kareem Hunt is going to do a lot, but he is going to take some of those goal line carries.
Yeah, and I talked a bit earlier about my 32-man league, and I did put a waiver wire in for Kareem Hunt just in case he gets signed, and they're like, you know what? Let's go with a veteran and just make sure we win games.
Yep. Also, some quarterbacks. Do you go after Andy Dalton? Andy Dalton is a proven quarterback that usually puts up some pretty good fantasy points, but Carolina is so bad.
Yeah, I don't know if I go with him until he proves himself. As a Bengals fan, I love the Red Rocket, but I don't know if I'm going to go with him until he proves he's good. He's proved it for the Saints a couple years ago when he played backup for the Saints and then taking over. He proved it every place he goes to. He ends up competing for the starting position. But I don't know what's going over there in Carolina. I don't think it matters who's at quarterback right now.
It's weird. It's weird. They bench Bryce Young,
Right.
who,
Yeah, right after the coach said we're sticking with him, and then
it's
they
weird.
immediately say, I guess we're benching him, which is insane.
Yep.
Top tight end free agent is Mike Gesicki for the Bengals. He had
Mike
almost
Gesicki.
100 receiving yards, but no touchdown for 13 points. I'm going to
And
say
it's
don't
weird
worry
that he's
about it.
not rostered. He's weird. It's weird because he put up decent tight end numbers when he was with Miami.
Yeah.
And I thought there'd be more interest in him. He's just not one of those sexy name free tight ends.
But the issue with him also is he's sharing his receptions with 2 other tight ends. The Bengals are throwing
Yeah.
to 3 different tight ends in the game. So it's either one of the 3 are going to have a good game possibly, and he just haven't have 100 receiving yards. Then the other person out there is Zach Ertz. He's been outsnapping his rookie for the tight end 1 spot for the Warriors. So they thought Zach Ertz was the
For the
second tight end.
Warriors?
Yeah, the Warriors. What did I say?
Who are the Warriors?
Wait, what?
Golden State? Are we
Wait, hold on.
fantasy basketball?
What am I saying? Wait, hold on. What am I doing wrong? Washington
What? Commanders.
Commanders. Oh my gosh. Why am I saying Warriors? You know what? I was looking at that W really hard, and I was like, Warriors, right? It's because they should be the Washington Warriors. It makes so much sense. Why are they the
Now, if
Commanders?
you would have said Washington Bullets, I would have given you a pass at least, or the Washington Generals, or the Washington Wizards.
Yeah,
But
all
you
those
went
make
the
sense.
Washington Warriors.
They should be the Washington Warriors, honestly.
But it's the Golden State Warriors. At one point, they were the Philadelphia Warriors. So if you were talking about the Eagles and you called it, I'd give you a pass on that.
I don't need a
But
pass.
you're not even close.
I don't need a pass.
Okay.
But Zach Ertz is outsnapping the tight end 1, who is a rookie. So you might look at him because he is a veteran tight end. And if the Commanders are trying to win, I think they'll go to him more often.
Yeah.
And then you had the top free agent defense, Green Bay Packers. They had a forced fumble and 3 interceptions to rack up 12 points. They're tied with the Arizona defense, who had just 1 forced fumble. So those are 2 decent defenses because their offensive teams are going to score a lot, forcing those other offense teams to take a lot of chances.
However, I would not necessarily. Well, they're playing against Tennessee, and Will Levis is garbage, so they could generate some interceptions. Green Bay does have a very good defense. Green Bay is one that I may try to stream a little bit this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like Seattle against Miami. I like the Raiders against Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good options out there.
So that brings us to the outcomes of the league. So now we're going to look at the outcomes of the league, and I think we're going to have some good stuff going on here with that. If you look at Sleeper, and we're going to the league view over here. Oop. Where's the league view? League. There we go. Okay, so we have the first game we're looking at, which is going to be Historians versus the Heavyweights. And we have myself, the Historians, the host of the Dizneyverse. We're going against the Heavyweights, and we end up winning 138-77. Wasn't much of a fight, unfortunately, for Jake.
That should have been a closer game. Should have been a closer game because Mike Evans way underperformed. Cooper Kupp got hurt, and make sure Jake pay attention to that. Kupp is going to miss some time. You're going to want to make an adjustment.
Did
Travis
he really?
Kelce. Yeah, oh yeah,
I didn't see that.
He hurt his ankle. He's going to be out for a couple weeks.
Oh my God.
Travis Kelce way underperformed. Tank Dell, that's tough. Houston receivers are tough because Nico Collins is clearly the number one, followed by Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs is going to have monster games, and then Tank Dell is you're going to struggle in that position all year with boom or bust. But that game should have been a lot closer than it was. Yes, you could have started Joe Burrow. Okay, you've got Jameson Williams on your bench. That is a must start every single week.
Yeah.
Every single week.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure about that, but with how low a numbers the tight end over there is having, I'm forgetting his name right now.
Sam Laporta.
Yeah. Sam Laporta is not being utilized as much as he used to. So Williams is definitely the number 2 receiver.
He's gonna be the number 1 receiver. There, Amon-Ra's the slot. Jameson Williams had a monster game week 1, with Amon-Ra getting next to nothing in week 1.
Yeah.
This game should have been a lot closer. Pacheco gets hurt. David Montgomery's a tough one. Him and Gibbs are gonna just, trade a lot of underperformers, and then some injuries hurt Jake. Don't get discouraged. This game should have been a lot closer, but also pay attention to your lineup. You're going to have to bench Kupp. You're going to have to put him on the injured reserve, most likely. But you've got Jameson Williams, so that's going to be an upgrade for you. So that injury forces you to pay attention a little bit. Get Jameson Williams in your lineup.
Yeah, when 4 players score a little less than 14 points, it's definitely going to be a hard week for you.
Yep. Now, Alex, you had a dominating week. You had an off week by Saquon Barkley. Could have had 6 more had he just held on to the ball, but no, he had to screw me over. J.K. Dobbins, I've now entered J.K. Dobbins into my starting lineups in other leagues. Yeah. He seems like he is the clear-cut number 1 in L.A.
Yeah.
He's having a great year so far. Amon-Ra put up Amon-Ra numbers. Devontae, huge numbers. Again, tight ends are all down. Zay Flowers had a great game, so great time to get him in your starting lineup. Even though Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler share time, Robinson seems to be getting a bulk of the carries, but also is more productive with his carries.
Yeah, people weren't sure who was going to be the number 1 there, and I knew it was going to be Robinson over Eckler.
Yeah.
And then for my bench, I really don't have much to do other than now I have to decide if I want to put Ridley in over Zay Flowers next week. I'm really just going to play the defense. Whoever has the better matchup, I'm going to put in. And then when Walker comes back, it's between Walker and Robinson as well. That's for sure how I'm doing that one. We're going to go look at the next game, which was King in the North, a.k.a. North, versus Maverick Miggs, a.k.a. Miggs. And this one was a close one, only decided by a little more than 4 fantasy points. Or a little less than 4 fantasy points, actually.
Yeah.
Very close game.
Well, you don't have North, you have nothing on your bench. Nothing on your bench. Get McCaffrey onto your IR slot and pick up some players. You've got some rough luck going on with Jordan Love out, Christian McCaffrey out.
Hold on. Miggs had 2 players not even playing. So he's lucky he even won by 4 points.
All right, Miggs, you got to pay attention. We had a 5-day long draft. Nakua's out.
Nakua's out.
Going to be out.
Ingram's out, which I don't know. Week 3 status to be determined, so he might not even play week 3.
And Ingram, not your fault. That happened in pregame warmups.
Oh, did it?
He got hurt in pregame warmups. But Nakua, we knew all week he's on the IR. Get him in your IR slot. Pick up some players. You got lucky that North had an off week. and
Yeah.
had nothing on his bench to, not an off week, but he had nothing on his bench to really start. But yeah, make some changes quickly. You're starting 2 tight ends in your flex position. You've got 2 backup quarterbacks. You're sitting Jerome Ford. I mean, Christian Watson was terrible. You got to make some changes because you are not going to. You're 2-0 right now, and I don't know how.
Yeah, it's gonna change for sure. You gotta make some changes, and then North definitely have to hit the waiver wire as well because, I mean, if you got McConkey, I think is gonna do better. Pittman should do better. Andrews should do better, and then you have Olave and Harrison who should do great every week. You have Pollard should do great. You have Pollard and Spears. I don't think that's a good idea to have both
No,
running backs for the same team. Um,
no.
definitely not good.
Drop Spears.
Drop
Pollard.
Spears. Yeah, Pollard's
Pollard's your guy.
Pollard is a guy there. Drop Spears. Go with
Y-
White
You,
over him for sure.
yeah, you're going to need to strengthen your bench, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of help out there for you on the waiver wires. You know, there is the Kansas City running back. I always forget his name. He's there. There's some options, but there's not a lot at running back right now. You're going to have to make a trade.
Yeah, especially McCaffrey got put on the IR slot, so you can make
Yeah.
up room in your bench.
You know, anybody on your team right now is tradable except for Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't care what anybody offers you. North, do not trade Marvin Harrison unless you're going to get 2 stud running backs. And I'm talking about the top running backs in the league, not a Jonathan Taylor, not a Travis Etienne. And I'm looking at their names right now. You don't trade Marvin Harrison, but you need some depth.
And here's Scott. He's gonna send a message. Hey North, remember what I said? Don't trade Marvin Harrison.
I was
So
just kidding.
this is when you trade him though. For real though. Let's
I mean,
go.
look, you can sell high, but I don't know that there's anything higher than Marvin Harrison right now.
No, he's too good.
And you know, I don't know. North, maybe I'll look at it and see if there's a viable option for you out there. But Marvin Harrison is going to be he's going to be wide receiver number 1 this year.
Next matchup we have my new friend Scott losing to Akuda Matata, aka Jackie, by 0.8 points. We talked about it earlier, but let's look over what happened. I think what happened is you just ran into Murray and then Stevenson still putting up crazy numbers back-to-back weeks.
Yep, and then also starting Stafford over Baker Mayfield. I make that change, I win. Tyreek Hill having a very off week.
Yeah, 5 points is crazy.
Yeah. Miami was terrible in that game. They couldn't move the ball. The only offense they had was HN. Stephon Diggs had an off week, but again, I'm going to have to live with that boomer bust scenario with Stephon Diggs. My bright spot, I picked up Jordan Mason off of waivers. You got Isaiah Likely. I got Jordan Mason. I think I won that. Joe Mixon had an off week. That's it. That's really it. I started the right people except for Baker Mayfield. I just had some off weeks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're going to start Eckler or Elliott or Worthy or DJ Moore. And then when Higgins comes back, you may start him over someone
Higgins
maybe Mason in the future, but Mason's going to be good for a while until McCaffrey comes back.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think I start Higgins over Mason. I tend to lean into running backs more than wide receivers. Could he start ahead of Stephon Diggs? Yeah, he could. He could. I need to dump Xavier Worthy. I don't think he's going to be extremely boomer bust.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly.
So let's look at Jackie's team. Jackie's team is stacked. Okay, I just noticed something. This AJ Brown injury is going to hurt you. Oh wow, Hollywood Brown and AJ Brown on your lineup. You're gonna need to maybe package Aaron Jones and see if you can get Marvin Harrison Jr. But you're going to be all right. Okay, look, you've got Brandon Ayuk, who's now the number one in San Francisco as long as Debo is out.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Laporta's going to bounce back a little bit, so you're going to be okay. But you got hit unfortunately with some key injuries.
Yeah,
Oh, and Tua. Oh my God.
yeah, those are all her bench players actually.
Yeah, but AJ Brown wasn't her bench player.
It was for this week.
Well, it was for the No, you made good decisions. You paid attention. Well, you paid attention, but you now have a very limited bench.
Yeah, which I
The
didn't.
good thing is you can put two on the IR, and you can
Yeah,
pick up someone and not have to drop. But
I would honestly just, like he said, put two on the IR. You're 1-1 right now. Put two on the IR, and maybe just hold on
drop
to
Hollywood
AJ
Brown.
Brown.
Hollywood Brown's done for the year. He's not coming back.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's
Yep.
out for the year.
Yeah, drop him. Put two on the IR, and then pick up some players.
So if
For
you are
flexes.
whoever owns Rashee Rice, now is a great time to sell high. If you're struggling at running back and you're good at wide receiver because you didn't draft Rashee Rice extremely high, he's probably your wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
I would, if you need to upgrade at running back, I look to trade Rashee Rice right now.
That's true. And let's look at the next matchup, which is Lady and the Champs versus 51st Legion. Jackie versus 51st Legion is Trent. And Lady of Champs won 150.92 to 88.94. Kind of a blowout there, but we said before Jackie has a really good team.
Yeah,
And I mean,
Jalen Hurts
it just
went off.
showed 24 for Hurts, 26 for A-Chain, 28 for Cooks, 21 for Jefferson,
Jesus.
14 for London, 14 for Bowers, and then unfortunately for her, Pickens and Moss combined for 9 points. And then her defense even scored 13.
But you made all the right decisions. Nobody on your bench outperformed
No.
someone that you started.
Well,
so
no, Zach. She could have played Warren over Zach Moss.
well, yeah, I
Who's gonna
mean,
do that?
maybe you do that. But I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 players over 20 points,
Yeah, it's crazy.
and like significantly over 20 points, not 20.1.
No.
And then you're playing against Patrick Mahomes, who had 2 interceptions.
Yep.
Bijan Robinson, who was good, 14 carries for
Just
97
did not
yards.
score.
Just didn't score. He's very touchdown dependent. James Conner had a huge game. Greg Wilson's been non-existent. Or Garrett Wilson, sorry. Garrett Wilson was drafted so high, and I'm still trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
Has not performed well. Terry McLaurin is awful. Kyle Pitts, again, we talked about Kyle Pitts. There's Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice is going to continue to have big games. Keon Coleman, nothing.
Yeah, I'm surprised
No,
by Keon Coleman. Everyone thought he's gonna be so good with the rookie coming in.
Well, he had one target.
Yeah,
One
crazy.
target.
Definitely
One
would not
target.
start him next week. I definitely would instead start Smith Najuba Majiba. And for your bench, I guess that's about smart. Smith Najiba on your bench instead of Coleman. The rest of your team I would keep. The rest of your team, I think, is as good as it's going to be for your bench.
Well, Shakir, 5 targets, but is that a 1-week thing? Is Buffalo just that good that they can spread the ball around? I don't know. It's still very early in the season, but yeah,
Shakir was on the field for 69% of the snaps, so he is moving upwards when it comes to snap percentage since last week.
You're going to struggle at wide receiver a little bit this year, but you got Rashee Rice.
Yeah. Let's look at the next one. We have East High, aka John, versus BBDs, which is Dane. And Dane, we'll start with the winner, Dane. He has Brock Purdy, who put up terrible numbers compared to what he normally does. 14 is not terrible, actually, for him. Derrick Henry put up good numbers at 16. We have Josh Jacobs, who had a fumble lost, and he's
151 yards, but the fumble, but no touchdowns.
No touchdowns, yeah.
No touchdowns, no catches.
CeeDee Lamb.
You got to be encouraged by 32 carries. They are going to run him into the ground. So many carries. CeeDee Lamb had a decent game.
Yep.
DK Metcalf, huge game. Hunter Henry had for a tight end, great game.
That's a great game.
Great game. Mari Cooper,
Jerry Jeudy looks like the number 1 over there.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're dealing with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Just this is Dane's rough towards the bottom of his lineup. But
Yeah.
he seemed to make all the right choices except for the defense. But even the Jets defense still put up 12 points, which is very good for a defense. And
Yeah.
then he's got Buffalo sitting on his bench.
Yeah. And I don't think I'd play any of his bench players over his starters. His bench is kind of thin. What's
Yeah.
Ferguson's out? Is he expected? He's
Yeah.
expected back week 3. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, Dane gets very weak as you get towards the bottom of his lineup. Like very weak. It does not have depth. All
And-
right, let's talk about East High Wildcats.
Let's talk
So
about it.
I started taking a look at it. So Anthony Richardson, that's a decent start. He underperformed.
Let's start.
Charbonnet, great decision to start him. I started him in a couple leagues. He's like my RB 4 or 5, but with what's his name out,
Mm-hmm.
Charbonnet was the way to go.
Yeah. If the other guy is out, which is Walker. If Kenan Walker's out, start him. But if Kenan Walker's back, I don't know if you want to start him. He did score 11 points in the first game with 30% snaps. I don't think it's going to continue. It's projected he's going to score 7 points the rest of the year every game.
Yeah,
which is
Charbonnet is you sit him when Kenneth Walker plays, you play him when Kenneth Walker's out. All right, let's talk. So Christian Kirk, rightfully so to be in your starting lineup. He's just off to a very slow start. Okay, did Vidal, was he ruled out before the game?
I don't know. 2 days ago, so it was Sunday that he was ruled out. But
Okay,
also, I don't think he's going to play much because J.K. Dobbins is doing so well.
Correct. And also, the inactive list comes out 90 minutes before the game. Leggett just didn't get anything.
Yeah.
I don't even know who this tight end is and how they lost,
Auden
4
is
yards, but-
Auden is the starting tight end for the Tampa Bay Bucks. He is the starting tight end.
So not a bad
No, but like
play.
how did he
Just
get
had an off
negative 0.4? What did he do? I can't even see. He doesn't have a fumble.
What's strange here is there's a lot of backups being started. It's like we didn't draft any starters here, and I'm confused. Irving for Tampa Bay, Sanjay P. Ryan. Although Sanjay P. Ryan is he's still going to be the number 2. He's still going to be the number 2. So you're going to get more production out of him, but he's the number 2.
Oh,
Sanjay P.
Steele
Ryan?
under the rookie
Yeah,
Steele.
Steele's the number 1. Yeah, Cameron Steele's the number 1. Sanjay P. Ryan's the number 2.
I don't know.
All
If I was Kansas City, I'd stick with P. Ryan over Steele. Steele had a rookie fumble this last game, and
maybe
P.
they
Ryan
do.
is
Maybe
a
they
veteran.
do. Maybe they do. Let's look at the bench to see what you could have done. Well, you don't start Bo Nix against over Anthony Richardson.
No.
Also have Justin Fields, maybe, but you're not starting anybody over Anthony Richardson.
No.
Anthony Richardson is an every week start. Nick Chubb,
who will come back eventually.
He's
projected to come back 5th week. He's supposed to come back.
Yeah, but again, and then Chubba Hubbard, Washington from Kansas City, and then you still have Rob Gronkowski. He is retired. He is not coming back. He's done. He doesn't play anymore. He's making commercials. He's sipping wine coolers on the beach. Drop Rob Gronkowski. We had a 5-day draft. Drop Rob Gronkowski.
Drop Gronkowski. Drop Washington. Drop Leggett. And just
if you don't know how to do any of that stuff, call me. Call Alex. We will help you.
We'll walk you through it. And drop Vidal, and then don't drop Vidal, but drop Leggett, drop Washington, drop Gronkowski, and just hit the waiver wire.
Why keep Vidal? But he's out, and
you keep Vidal because J.K. Dobbins and Edwards are both injury prone, and if they both go down, Vidal will be the guy.
I guess, but are you going to hang on to a handcuff for a handcuff when you already don't have depth?
I think
that's taking up a roster spot with
but it's not a lot of
tier handcuff.
There's not a lot of players out there.
but it's a second tier handcuff when you already have Nick Chubb on your bench.
That's
You
true.
have two backup quarterbacks. You've got Chubba Hubbard. You've got Rob Gronkowski. Like this team is not deep enough to hang on to a third level handcuff.
I guess. And then our last matchup is going to be Team Kalina versus Stroop de Whoop,
Group the whoop.
aka not Jackie, of Tara versus Nathan. And we have
Tara's got a great team as well.
141.4 to 104.5. Pretty, I mean, it was projected closer, but she came out on top.
Well, she's got Alvin Kamara.
Yeah,
And
Kamara went
Malik
off for 43
Neighbors.
points. Neighbors had a crazy game. This
And
game,
this game
it should have been closer.
it should have been Josh Allen. Josh Allen's not going to put up less than 10 points every week.
No, that was insane.
Yeah. Devin Singletary actually, I think, overperformed. Debo Samuel got hurt in that game. Nico Collins, Freiermuth, whatever. Jalen Waddle underperformed because Tua was terrible. Now, you started Keenan Allen, who was ruled out with plenty of time to get him out of your lineup.
Yeah, because I made a change in one of my leagues, my Dynasty League. I actually have.
And that's a flex position. You could have gone DeAndre Swift. You could have. You don't really go Chandler.
I actually had DJ Moore, so I switched out Moore for Allen last minute.
Yeah. So there was some options there for you. You lost some points by picking San Francisco instead of the Texans, but that's okay. Let's look at Tara. Tara killed it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Slayed this. Kamara had a huge game. Neighbors had a huge game. Chris Godwin had a huge game. George Kittle had a huge game. You're playing Addison, who was ruled out before the game.
He should be back week 3. Then also it looks like White is questionable, the minor groin, but he's projected to come back next week as well.
Yep. Yeah, and he'll be fine. Your bench is real weak. I'm seeing a lot of very weak benches.
Yeah.
But again, that's what happens when one, you take a quarterback so early, and two, when you take a backup quarterback so early. It happens. Everybody wants to go after that big name quarterback. There's so much value in the later rounds.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why I'm a big proponent of late round QBs, which is why I waited forever to take Dak Prescott. And
you're going to get some good value. I'm going to get some Baker Mayfield for me.
19
points. I pulled him off waivers.
Yeah, it's going to happen. You only
Same
need
thing with tight ends.
Say quarterback tight ends is the two you don't need a lot of because you only need to fill that one roster spot.
Yep.
And they only have one bye week. So bench wise though, I mean, Jared Judy looks like he might be the guy. So definitely flex him in for Addison next week if Addison's not going to play again, and then you'll be all set for next week. Kalina Tara for sure. And then yeah, Stroop to Nathan, I would definitely look at. Let's see your bench here. Joku's hurt. Is Joku coming back? But I don't think he'd do much, honestly. So if you had to drop someone to pick up waivers, I would maybe drop in Joku. Because I think Freiermuth is going to be decent moving forward. He's just a sure tight end. And you have him to his bye week's not to week 9. Waddle, unfortunately, is going to have not going to do too well moving forward.
Gonna have a rough year. He's gonna have a rough year.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was our week in review, and now we're going to take a quick look into next week matchups. And start off, we have Historians versus 51st Legion. And let's see if we look at 51st Legion, they have no one on a bye week. They have no one hurt. So this is the actual numbers for it should be, and we're projected to win by 2 points.
Sorry, I got to interrupt.
Yeah.
Before we hit up this week, we have to take a look back at last week to see if we got our picks right.
That's
okay.
True.
So, let's start. We got Alex versus Jake.
Yep.
I said Alex wins 115 to 113. I was way off on the score. We both said Alex though would win.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hear. Alex. God. So we're both we got 1 and 1. Okay. Then we're gonna go NNF Scott versus Jackie. I predicted a 132 to 127 win for Jackie. You also picked Jackie. We both get 2. Lady and the Champs versus 501st Legion. Um, we both. No, I'm sorry. I picked an upset with 501st beating Jackie 127 to 105. You took Jackie, so you get the point for that one. Next, we have Dane versus East High. Where's that at? So we both picked Dane. I picked Dane with a score of 112 to 87.
Okay.
So I was close on Dane's score. Who knew East High was going to put up 31? I knew it was going to be a low score, and then finally we've got Kalia versus Stoop DeWhoop. I said Stoop would pull off the upset. Alex said Kalina would win. My final score prediction was 110 to 97. So Alex got a perfect 5 out of 5. So far,
Hold
Alex
on.
is up.
You missed
Yes.
King of the North versus Team Maverick Migs.
I did. I'm sorry. Let's go back there. Okay, King of the North versus. So we were split on this. I said North. You said Migs. I predicted a final score of 93 to 85.
So
I was pretty close
you were
on the
pretty close
score.
on the score.
Just wrong winner. So Alex is a perfect 6 for 6. And I only got 3 right. So far in the season, Alex is up 6 games to 3. I'm not going to mess with the score. I don't want to do that.
It's too hard.
Yeah.
It's too hard.
So let's start. We're doing Historians versus 501st Legion.
Historian
right?
versus 501st Legion, and it's only for a difference of 2 fantasy points. Prescott versus Mahomes, Barkley versus Robinson, Dobbins versus Connor, St. Brown versus Wilson, which I think is the first in my favor. Everything else is pretty even. I think that's the one that really shows that I probably will win is Brown versus Wilson. Adams versus McLaurin. I think Adam over McLaurin. Kincaid versus Pitts. I think Pitts over Kincaid. Flowers versus Rice. I think Rice over Flowers. Robinson versus Coleman. Robinson over Coleman unless he ends up making that flex change for Smith and Njubo, which then
It'd be a close game.
it will be close. And then Chargers defense versus Baltimore defense. I honestly do not know if I'm actually going to win this game.
It's going to be a close game. It just depends on who performs.
Yeah.
Gosh, this is going to be a really fun game to kind of watch through as it's happening in real time. I am going to go with the projections, though, and I'm picking Alex.
And I'm also going with myself because I got to root for myself, but also because I have 3 running backs versus the 2 running backs. And like you, I am a running back believer.
Yep.
So I think the team with the more running backs is going to end up winning.
Yep.
All right, next we have King of the North versus Akuta Matata, and we have Akuta Matata winning 102 to 89. And if King of the North makes some changes, takes out Spears for, let's say, White, that makes a difference of nothing, actually. But it should, because Spears is not going to score that many points, and White should score more. And then that's about it for the changes on the benches. And it looks like everyone has a starting player. No one's hurt. So Akuta Matata definitely should win this one.
Yeah, any week that a Jackie is playing, I'm picking a Jackie to win. The only week that I will struggle picking a Jackie is when the Jackie is playing the other Jackie.
The week of the Jackies, I can't wait.
Yeah, also Kalina is going to be a tough matchup. Those are the 3 teams to beat in our league right now. So yeah, I'm going Akuta. You're going Akuta. We're both even on that one.
We have Team No New Friend Scott versus Team Migs, Maverick Migs to be exact. And we have 101.9 to 92.4. And if I look through the roster, we have Nakua at 0. Ingram supposed to be back. So if he makes a change, and
If
let's
he makes the changes,
he puts in, I don't know about Mike Williams. I don't know about
such a rough bench. Such a rough bench.
Wicks or Watson.
Well, Jerome Ford, you're putting Jerome Ford in at tight end. Or
What?
not at tight end.
Flex?
At flex. You're not starting a tight end at flex.
Okay, yeah. So move Reed to your wide receiver position.
I don't know why I'm helping you right
Take
now.
Nakua out and put in Ford, and that will bump you up to 10 points, making you win by 1 point.
Yeah, I'm going with me here, because I don't think that the changes are going to be enough for him.
I think they will be enough because I don't think Hill's going to do anything. I don't think. I think Mayfield playing Denver should do well. Gibbs versus Arizona should do well. Williams versus San Francisco should do well. Everyone else should do well. I think Hill is not going to do very much against Seattle.
I think I have a lot of players that are going to outperform their projections this week.
So
I,
Miggs, if you made that
I'm
change,
going with me. I'm going with me. This should be a close game. It should be a good game if he makes the changes.
yes, and I'm actually.
Or this
go
could
with
be one of
Miggs.
these weeks that he doesn't make the changes, and then I still lose and get pissed off.
I'm gonna go with Miggs on this one. I think he makes the changes for sure.
All right. So you're saying that I'm going to start a 1-2 record, which would be very interesting and very much like me. If you remember back to the Dizneyverse League, I'm one of the most experienced fantasy football players, and I came in second to last.
Next, we have
next
heavyweights versus Lady in the Champs, Jake versus Jackie. And we have Jackie at 109 versus Jake with 73. And looking at his lineup, he has Pacheco, he needs to get out. He has Cup, he needs to get out. If he does that change for a running back and a wide receiver, he will then be moving in 10 points and 6 points for a total of what looks like 17, 18 points. That still does not put him enough to win the matchup.
Yeah, and this is a Jackie team. No, he does not have enough on his bench to fix this. He's going to have to do some waivers. He's going to have to make some trades. He's going to have to make some difficult decisions. Yeah, this is going to be a landslide victory for Lady and the Champs. I'm going Jackie.
Yeah, I'm going with Jackie as well. I'm struggling to think of the week I'm going to play her.
Yep.
If we look at the next one, we have East High versus Stroop to Whoop. We have Stroop to Whoop projected to win 95 to 65. And again, it's one of those things where he needs to make some changes to his lineup to really bring up the projections. Get rid of Vidal, make some drops, make some changes, and then we'll have a real projection.
But I think, yeah, a lot is going to have to go right this week. He's going to have to pick up some players off of waivers that their starter gets hurt before the game. This is going to be another rough week for East High. East High is going to have to. It just doesn't have much trade value. There's not a lot of assets that he can turn into a viable team.
He just needs to hit the waivers. That we don't have it's not over. Just hit
it's not
the
over.
waivers.
It's not over. Hit the waivers. You may have to trade Anthony Richardson just to get some type of value back for him, so you can have more players.
2-for-1 trades.
Yeah, but good luck. But this is going to be a blowout win. Stroop to Whoop runs away with it.
And the last one is Big Beautiful Days versus Kalina, and this one's projected as a 5-point difference. And I think it's actually pretty close. It's Purdy versus Stroud, Derrick Henry versus Rod White, who Rod White should be playing next week. We have Kamara versus Jacobs, Neighbors versus Lamb, Godwin versus Metcalf, Kittle versus Ferguson, which I think that's the big difference right there. I think Kittle outperforms Ferguson for sure. And then
this is going to be a fun game to follow
as
well.
Addison projected with 10 points, so they have him coming back next week versus Cooper, who I think is pretty even there. We have Goddard versus Gus Edwards for the flex, and defense Minnesota versus the Jets. I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't know anyone they'll sub out.
Well, she's got to get a tight end out of that flex position.
Yeah, put in Judy.
Especially when you got Cortland Sutton sitting on your bench, you got Jerry Jeudy sitting on your bench. Goddard can put up some big numbers, but you don't need a tight end, and you have 3 tight ends. You got Dalton Schultz sitting on your bench. You got to figure that out.
Yeah,
But
I'd drop Schultz for sure.
yeah, I know that right now Dane is projected to win this game. Ooh, he still has Ferguson in his starting lineup, so he hasn't made that change yet.
What
This
change?
is a
He's projected to be back.
Dane has Ferguson in his starting lineup right now,
Yeah,
who is out.
he's projected to be back actually.
Okay. All right. Well then, yeah. This is a tough one. This is a very tough one. Because Brock Purdy could put up big numbers or nothing. The same thing. The running backs. Ugh. So I'm gonna give Kalina a slight edge, just because she's got Alvin Kamara and Rashad White's playing against a weak Denver defense. She's got CJ Stroud, who can put up big numbers. Malik Neighbors is the only offense in New York. Chris Godwin's going to have another big game. George Kittle's going to have another big game. Get Addison out of your line. Well,
No, he's
Addison may
projected to
be
win. He's
okay.
projected to play.
But Justin Jefferson may be hurt. So if Justin Jefferson's hurt, then Addison's going to have a huge game.
Yeah.
Get Dallas Goedert out of your lineup. You're going to be okay. Dane's got a solid team too, but I think that she's got more boom. She's got a higher ceiling, whereas he has a higher floor.
Yeah, I think take out Gus Edwards. He's definitely not it over there.
Nope.
And maybe throw in Hunter Henry. I don't know. I wouldn't love it, but he did pretty well this last week, and he's playing the Jets, which show they're not a great defense when it comes to stopping the pass. Dunzi is projected 9 points. That would be a difference of 2.
I would get a Dunzi in your lineup.
That would be a difference of 2, so that won't be terrible. But I think Dane
Caleb
will pull
Williams
this one out,
likes a
actually.
Dunzi.
I think Dane will win.
All right, this is our own. It's one of 2 splits.
Yeah.
We agreed on most matchups except for NNF versus Migs. You have Migs, I have myself, and then Kalina versus Big Beautiful Diz. You have Dane, I have Kalina.
All right. Well, that's our roundup, our projections, all the stuff we did this week for the Dizneyverse Fantasy Football League. And you know what? We'll talk to you next week.